Hare Krishna, Namaste. Chapter 14 is entitled as Gunatraya Vibhaha Yoga. Sloka 4. Sarva-yoniṣu kaunteya mūrtayaḥ sambhavanti tāsāṁ brahma mahad yonir ahaṁ bīja-pradaḥ pitā. There are three types of Srishti and Pralaya. Srishti means creation, Pralaya means dissolution or destruction. Number 1, Prakrita Pralaya or Srishti, Naimitika Srishti, Nitya Srishti. Prakrita Pralaya means where the entire existence of material nature along with the living entity, they all go back to their source in a reverse order. We saw that from Moola Prakriti comes Mahan, from Mahan to Ahaṁ. Ahaṁ has Sattvika, Rajasa and Tamasa Ahaṁ. From them comes Panchabhuta, Panchatanmatra, Panchajnanendriya, Panchakarmendriya and Manas. At the time of dissolution, the earth, which is the last Panchabhuta that get created, goes back into water element. From the water element goes back into fire element. The fire element goes back into air element. And the air goes to Akasha, the ether, and then that goes into Ahaṁ to Mahan, and Mahan finally to Prakriti, Moola Prakriti or Pradhana, and they all reside on the Supreme Lord. Avyaktam akshare liyate, aksharam tamasi liyate, tama pare deve yeki bhavati. In the Subhala Upanishad, this is explained. This includes Lord Brahma as well, as he has completed his duties on a given lifespan. Likewise, when the time comes, the Prakrita Srishti happens, the creation happens, and that we have seen also. Next is Naimitika Pralaya or Srishti. What happens is when Brahma goes to sleep, to rest, certain planetary system within the universe get dissolved, and when Lord Brahma gets up in the morning, he recreates just these dissolved planets. So the Prakrita Pralaya happened directly by the Supreme Lord, whereas the Naimitika Pralaya happens by Lord Brahma is also done by the Supreme Lord, as he is the Antaratma of Brahma. This we learned from the previous third sloka. The question is, if Krishna is the cause of Prakrita Pralaya and Naimitika Pralaya, then who is the cause of Nitya Pralaya? That is, Krishna is the cause of Prakriti and Purusha for all the creation birth to happen during the complete dissolution, that is Prakrita Pralaya, or partial dissolution, that is Naimitika Pralaya. There are birth and death happens continuously in the world that we see. That is called Nitya Pralaya. So for that to happen, Krishna is the cause as well. Therefore, Krishna is the complete cause of all the three, Prakrita, Naimitika and Nitya Pralaya. With that, let's see the meaning of the sloka. Kaunteya, O son of Kuntī, sarva-yoniṣu, in all species of life. mūrtayaḥ, whatever forms, whatever body, sambhavanti, they appear. tāsāṁ, for those forms, mahad brahma, the great prakriti only, yonir, is the cause. ahaṁ, I, bīja-pradaḥ, the seed giving, that means the living entities. The souls are considered seed here. Pitā, father. Translation: it should be understood that all species of life, O son of Kuntī, are made possible by birth in this material nature, and that I am the seed-giving father. What has been said here is whatever form the living entities takes, as gods, gandharvas, yakshas, rakshasas, manushya, pashu, pakshi, sarishrapadishu, which means snake. Prakriti is the cause. I am, that is Krishna, is the father who places the jivas, the living entities, in the respective wombs in accordance with their karma. The three types of pralaya or srishti that we saw can be categorized into two types. One is samashti srishti, that is casual creation, and the other one is vyashti srishti, affected creation. Krishna manifested 23 tattvas from the Moola Prakriti. He mixed them up with each other. This process is known as Trivitkaranam or Panchikaranam. He brought out the universes from these mixed compounds. Then he created Brahma inside these universe. Upon this stage, the process of creation is referred to as samashti srishti. The act of creation that Brahma performs, individual creation of devas, manushyas, etc., is called vyashti srishti. The point is being made in this sloka is even these individual creation happens by the Supreme Lord. Krishna here says, ahaṁ bīja-pradaḥ pitā, whereas in the previous sloka he said, tasmin garbham dadhamyaham. Over there he said, garbham is given by me, garbham is embryo, is given by me, whereas here bīja means seed, is given by me. The difference is, over there it's a jiva samashti. During the prakrita srishti, the Lord sends the entire jiva samashti, the entire group of jivas, into the prakriti. Whereas here what been said is a day-to-day creation that happens between male and female union. That is also happens by the Supreme Lord. That jiva, the seed, is also given by the Supreme Lord. The individual creation also happens by the Supreme Lord. Is the message. Ahaṁ bīja-pradaḥ pitā. We know that father is cause of his son. Grandfather is cause of the father. But the grandfather can't be the cause of his grandson, and so forth. It is only the father can be cause of his son, which means the grandfather has no direct cause for the grandson. But when it comes to Krishna, Krishna is the cause of each birth. that happens. So it is Krishna who places the seed, which are the sentient being, Jivatma. Pitā, he who binds the Atma accordingly to each one's karma with the respective bodies. Like we saw, the grandfather can never become the direct cause of his grandson. Another example is a gardener plants a plantain tree from which other young ones sprouted. He did not do anything directly which produced the young ones, whereas Krishna's action is not like that. He is directly involved in each and every birth that happens, takes place every day. If a child is born today, this is also because of Krishna. In other words, unless he wills, nothing will originate ever, anywhere. Another point to learn from this sloka, if we notice that like in the previous verse, mama yonir mahad brahma, the prakriti over there, which is being called as mahad brahma, over here also it repeats brahma mahad yonir. The only difference is that one is in karya stage, another one is in karana stage. Karana stage is where cause. At that time, there everything was unmanifested, whereas here the prakriti is in its manifested stage. That's all the difference. But still, it is mahad brahma. From the earlier sloka, the previous sloka, Krishna addressed a very important argument that was raised. That is, the Prakriti and Purusha combination makes everything happen. And in the third sloka, Krishna denied by saying, it doesn't happen by itself. I am the one who makes it happen. I am the one who creates everything, makes a Prakriti from unmanifested to manifested state, and then sends the Jiva Samashti, the aggregated living entity, into it. Then the next argument came, well, then day-to-day creation and destruction, that is death and birth, happens in the world, happens not by God. God is not interfered. It happens just by the combination of Prakriti and Purusha. They just make things happen. And that was also defeated, denied in this sloka, that it is Krishna who makes it happen. Ahaṁ bīja-pradaḥ pitā. What is the reason that Krishna had to say this? That he is the cause of day-to-day activities, day-to-day creation. There are two classes of Sankhyas. One, Nireshwara Sankhya. Another one is Seshwara Sankhya. Nireshwara Sankhya do not accept existence of God. There's only two substances or elements. One is Prakriti, another one is Purusha, the living entity. This one we learned in the 13th chapter, verse 21, part 2. Those who does not believe in God and believe that just by Prakriti and Purusha everything happens. We saw example of a blind man and layman. Milk creates yogurt, grass turning to milk, camel carries load on its back, and we saw these examples to understand Nireshwara Sankhya, the Sankhya school of thought that doesn't believe in God. They do not accept God. The another Sankhyas are called Seshwara Sankhya. they do accept existence of God, they accept Prakriti, they accept the living entities, but their acceptance of God is as nimitta karana, whereas they say Prakriti is upadhana karana. By saying this, they are limiting the Supreme Lord with certain aspect only. Nimitta karana means instrumental cause. Upadhana karana means material cause. For example, a pot maker is an instrumental cause, nimitta karana, whereas the mud becomes a material cause known as upadhana karana. So, these Sankhyas, they say that God is just instrumental in making things, but upadhana karana, the material cause, is Prakriti. When we study this Sloka 4, it appears as if this is what has been taught, because Prakriti is the cause, whereas Krishna gives the seed, which means Prakriti plays a role of upadhana karana, material cause, and Krishna plays a role of nimitta karana by giving the bija, the seed. But that is not what has been said in this sloka. Krishna is not promoting Sankhya philosophy in this sloka. Father and mother are two separate entities. Therefore, father is nimitta karana, who gives the seed, and mother is material cause, upadhana karana. Whereas, when it comes to the Supreme Lord, the Prakriti is not something separate from the Supreme Lord. Unlike how father is separate from the mother, they are two separated entities, whereas the Prakriti is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, it is the Prakriti which becomes manifested into various elements, which is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord as well. Therefore, the upadhana karana cannot be Prakriti, it is also the Supreme Lord. If a pot maker wants to make a pot, he has to look for the mud outside him. That's how he has to make the pot. When the Lord wants to create the universe, he is not going to look for things outside. The Prakriti, which is Moola Prakriti, Pradhana, is part and parcel of the Lord, is what's been used for creating the rest of the 23 elements from mahad and so forth. And the living entities are also part and parcel of the Lord. They are not existing separately from the Lord. Therefore, it is Krishna who is nimitta karana as well as upadhana karana. Then the last question comes. The seed-giving father is Krishna, and the mother is Prakriti, material nature. If they are same, then why do we see differences in the creation? We see Manushya, we see Deva, we see Pakshi and so forth. If father and mother are same, then the children should be same. Well, that is not a right argument. Even in this world, though father and mother are same, who gives birth to multiple children, the children are not of same nature, appearance, they all differ. Likewise, even though Krishna is a seed-giving father, and the Prakriti plays a role of a mother, there are differences in the creation is simply because of those individual souls, atmas, karmas. Deva, Gandharva, Yaksha, Rakshasa, Manushya, Pashu, Mriga, Pakshi, Sarisrapadishu. All these different pieces which has different types of body does not happen by chance. It has been done by the Supreme Lord based on the individual karma. So, the achetana prakriti is the cause when it has the chetana living entities connection, and that connection happens only by the will of the Lord. He is bīja-pradaḥ, the seed-giving Father. Otherwise, the Prakriti can't do anything. Prabhupada gave an example in the previous verse that the scorpion lays its eggs in piles of rice, and sometimes it is said that the scorpion is born out of rice because we don't see the mother. We only see the scorpion coming out of rice. But that doesn't mean the rice becomes the cause of the scorpion. It is the mother which laid the egg in the pile of rice. Similarly, material nature, the Prakriti, is not the cause of the birth of the living entity. The seed is given by the Supreme Lord. They only seem to come out as a product of material nature, but in reality, the Lord is the one who seeds the living entity into the Prakriti based on their different past activities, karmas, so that the living entity can experience, enjoy or suffer according to their past deeds. To conclude, Prakriti, which is the cause of variations of things that we see in the world, is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. It is Lord's property. Therefore, it is the Lord who is the cause of every creation that happens in the world. Now that we learned that the beginning of cycle of creation done by the Supreme Lord, as well as the individual selves takes birth into different bodies like Deva, Manushya and so forth, based on the karma, is also done by the Supreme Lord. Then after the jivas, the living entities experiences the fruits of their actions, which means their karmas are perished, then they become pure. Then what is the reason that they get associated with the body again? We are all born and we experience pains and pleasure in this lifetime. That means our karmas are getting finished. By the end of our life, this life, our karmas are gone. Then why is that we are born again associating with another body? That's a question will be answered in the 5th sloka. Sarva-yoniṣu kaunteya mūrtayaḥ sambhavanti tāsāṁ brahma mahad yonir ahaṁ bīja-pradaḥ pitā. Namaste. Hare Krishna.